Hey you guys, how you doing tonight? I'm sorry I stayed away from you guys so long. I've been booed up with my new channel, Real Miss Mickey J. So this is gonna be my first little segment or my episode and the many videos to come. So I hope y'all stick around. If a lot of y'all don't know me, my name's Miss Shayla. It's my real name. I go by Real Miss Mickey J or Mickey J for short. I actually have a lot of different names. Shayla J, CJ, Mickey J, whatever you can remember. It's all good. So, today's episode is definitely going to be about the number one thing people bitch about on social media, which is relationships, which is going to be the majority of my channel anyway. So, I hope that you guys stay tuned and follow me as these videos progress. So, here goes. So, let's get started. So, one of the concepts that I approach when it comes to relationships are a subject that we all know too well about called red flags. By definition, a red flag is a warning of danger or a problem. And my concept tonight is going to introduce to you a new way of thinking, a new idea that I want you to think about and adopt. This is known as orange flags. Orange flags, by definition, are any kind of precipitating factor, usually present, almost always present before a relationship has had a chance to really start itself. These usually manifest as little what I like to call tics or hunches that occur that do not send you into full doubt just yet. Essentially, they disturb your energy field only briefly and then they go away. And so this can manifest to anything as a pause or a wait or a or your intuition going, or something that kind of makes you wonder. And I'm not talking about some bullshit like, oh man, like that might become a problem later because he hangs his hats on the door. That might become a problem later because she's always wearing wigs. Not no petty shit like that. I don't want people to start screwing up definitions of stuff by, excuse me, sorry about my camera, by like taking stuff to the extreme. I want you to, stay focused on the task at hand. Don't get carried away on this. Alright, so this equates to a little story and conversation my mom was having with my brother's dad. So he was talking about how expensive it was to get into the strip club and how you already almost broke before you even get to the stripper. So you go up in the club, you gotta pay the security guard, then you gotta pay the DJ, then you gotta pay the bartender. And before you even get to the stripper or you get to the pole, you already in the red. Your wallet almost dropped dead broke. You can equate this to how orange flags work. Like, dude, we haven't even began the beginning stages of this potential relationship, and we already in the red. Like, that's not the red light special I was looking for. Like, dude, we haven't even hit the pole yet, and we already having problems. Like, or actually, no, I'll scratch that. You are already causing issues. Make sure to always give credit where accountability is due. And that, my friends, is exactly why red flags don't work out too well for us. I mean, they still do, essentially, because they help us to figure out and make more sense of our situation once we get to that point of realizing, well, now how do I get out? But they don't work in those very initial stages just because by the time the flag turn red, it's too late. Like, you already in the red. I kill myself with that. So, what shall you do when you encounter orange flags? And how do you know the difference between whether the flags are turning from green to yellow to orange to red? I'll show you. So, first and foremost, you have to pay attention to what you notice in the beginning. I'll say this again. Pay attention to what you notice in the beginning, because it's either going to come up as an opportunity or a problem later. And the reason why that's important is because this stuff is not a good sign of things to come. That's what orange flags do. And even though they don't present themselves as such an issue right then and there, they are going to give rise to a deeper issue that's either going to allow for dialogue in your relationship, to allow it to grow past the point that it's supposed to or can, or it's going to give rise to a problem that was present in the beginning that's going to intensify and most likely end up being the ultimate end of your relationship. So a couple of ways to recognize what orange flags are. Again, just those little hunches of, the wonder of, maybe anything that disturbs your energy field that makes you pause for a second, even if briefly. Most of my knowledge is definitely based on my own experiences and also based on this woman's book, How to spot a dangerous man before you get involved. So she describes 8 types of dangerous men and gives defense strategies and a red alert checklist for each of them. And so with that, one of the main things that stuck out to me the most about the checklist that she put in there was one about when somebody has said something to you or done something or explained something that you've asked about. If you feel uncomfortable about what they have said or done, and that feeling remains long after you've had the conversation or you're away from them, that is an orange flag. And that in and of itself does sound like a red flag, but I want you guys to remember, orange flags are the precipitating factors, like the rising action before the relationship has had a chance to take hold and manifest. So definitely keep that in mind. The second thing I want you guys to be mindful of and watch is anything that makes you feel slightly unsure or seems too good to be true. All that little stuff that may actually make you feel good, like nothing that's going to really present a danger to you. Just any of that stuff to, again, anything that pauses or disturbs energy field briefly for that little moment. Anything also that is going to have you wondering about it for a little bit. The next 2 things I want you guys to look at are anything that makes you start to rationalize or minimize what they have just said or told you or done. Anything that's, oh, you know, maybe they're just like that. Maybe they're just a nice guy. Maybe she just had some problem. If you find yourself starting to explain away what has put you into a state of wonder or that is an orange flag. And ultimately, the number one thing about orange flags that I want people to remember is any kind of feeling, again, that doesn't present doubt or danger, but something that keeps you in the state of confusion or stuck state of mind of, okay, if you feel like you're still trying to figure out a puzzle or something is just off, then it is. And it sucks, man, because a lot of people in those instances, they always bring up the, oh, you should have just left in the first place. Why didn't you just leave? Yada, yada. I mean, sometimes we get, emotionally invested and excited about a person, or we really don't feel like starting over. We feel like, we can really click with somebody, and we really don't want to just drop it off, give it up so easily, or we feel like we don't have enough information, or we don't want to be seen as the overreacting one. Or the bad news is that you may have to start over anyway, so you're going to have to work up the courage to be able to recognize the beginning signs of something that may not work for you in the long run, and have the courage to just walk off and find somebody else, because there's always somebody else. It's tough. Sometimes the somebody else takes longer to come along, but we have to remember to protect our peace and space. I mean, another thing I want you guys to remember, the thing is that it is very important to be able to make those kind of hard but solid decisions, because we are in a society right now, if I could frame this right, where people are getting more and more craftier at deceiving people into getting what they want from them. The biggest thing I want you to consider when it comes to spotting these orange flags and ultimately how you approach your relationships, you need to be very aware and pay attention to your intuition. You and your intuition need to be tight like this. That needs to be the first person that you wake up to and go to bed to every night. The first person that you talk to before anybody else. The thing is that you have to be aware of the inner dialogue that is playing out in your head in real time, and you need to recognize your own thought process of how you're interacting and reacting to stuff as it's happening, because the thing is, psychos out there, or people that are out there misleading and tricking people, are using the same process to be able to teach themselves how to use and fool people. And that, my friends, actually has a term assigned to it that is going to become the hallmark the majority, if not all, of my videos. And so until next time, that is it for me tonight. Let me know what you think, any questions you have, any comments you may have, any experiences you may have had, and hopefully this will allow you to keep up on my upcoming videos, because this is only the tip of the iceberg of the shit that is about to go down on my page. Till next time, loves. See you later. Good night.